So as you know, I'm a big fan of giving you lots of options, and I'm going to start with what I think is the easiest approach here. So whenever you have a function, or in this case, two functions set equal to each other, we could just go into Desmos and find the solution pretty easily. So let's go ahead to Desmos in the upper right corner and get things oriented nicely here. Maybe I'll go right there. And what I'm going to do, since I'm typing this in, I want to make sure that I'm going to do a horizontal fraction bar. So I'm going to right away put parentheses x. And then if I'm going to do squared, I could use the keyboard that's in the lower left corner in Desmos, but I like to just do Shift 6, which does the caret. I'll type the 2, I'll go to the right to drop down, minus 4x, and I'll go ahead and just press right because it already has that parenthesis for me. I'll press the horizontal fraction bar and then go ahead and do the denominator of x minus 4. Now, at this point, I could just press right and put equals 1. And when I do so, I'm finding the solution, which is in this case, x equals, now let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit. I'm going to press Control minus a couple times and see if that helps. In this case, it actually didn't. So I'm going to just drag over and then click on the zoom in feature. And that makes it pretty clear. You can see x equals 1. So that's my only solution. So I'm going to go ahead and say the answer is A. Now, if you're curious why it talks about 4 being a solution, I mean, we can go ahead and look here. We don't see a vertical line here. So there's no x equals 4 as a solution. And we could see why in just a moment, but before we do so, let's look at a second approach when using Desmos. So really, you have this function set equal to this function. And I'm a big fan of just typing it in all at once, but I do want you to understand that you could also separate these as two separate functions and find the point of intersection, looking specifically for the x coordinate. So because this one had x in it, I don't have to put y equals. That's kind of nice. But since the other one was just 1, I need to put y equals 1 so it knows I'm referring to that horizontal line. And notice the point of intersection here is 1, 1, and I'm looking for the x coordinate, and we get the answer. And you could also see that at x equals 4, they definitely don't intersect. They're at very different y coordinates. So let's look at what this actually means algebraically, because you may be thinking, well, I need to do this in my math class. What would I do in that case? I can't use Desmos. So what you would do in that case, there's actually two options here. You could go ahead and just cross multiply right away by making the right side a fraction. And this cross product, 1 times x squared minus 4x, is obviously x squared minus 4x. And then this other cross product is just going to give you x minus 4. Now keep in mind when you have more than one type of x, like to the second power and to the first power, we need to get everything equal to 0. So I'm going to move this x to the left and the 4 to the left by adding it. And when we do so, we definitely get 0 on the right side. And on the left side, we have x squared minus 5x now, and just a plus 4. And what we would do is factor and solve. And the nice thing is we could, at this point, if we want, use Quadratic Solver, which we know is one of our top 5 MVPs, most valuable programs. We'll go to this second program right here. We'll type in the coefficients of 1, -5, and 4, and we get solutions of 4 and 1. Now, you're probably seeing why Desmos is superior because it didn't give us two solutions where we had to eliminate one of them. It just showed us the one solution. But here, when we get 4 and 1, the way that we can determine which one is what we refer to as extraneous, notice the first 5 letters there spell extra, is look at the original denominator. Now, if you plug in 4, notice you would get 0 in the denominator, and you're never allowed to divide by 0. You get undefined. So because of that, the 4 solution is extraneous, and we could eliminate it. We already know 1 is the solution, so A is the correct answer. One final approach, if you're curious, is you could have factored the original numerator. Now, notice when you go to page 33, more specifically side 1 of our 5-sided math reference document, and you look at the very top of this algebra concept where we have these 6 scenarios for factoring. It's really the 6 scenarios you'll ever see, and our third scenario is when you have binomials with x's. We call it the greatest common factor scenario. So whenever you can take something out of both or all the terms, if it were a trinomial, it's this scenario. So with x squared minus 4x, I'll put this off to the side so we can have a visual here. What they have in common is x to the first. So if I take out x to the first, I'm left with We'll go ahead and subtract the exponents. We get x to the first minus the x's cancel, so we just get minus 4. And then we'll rewrite it over here. So that's our new numerator. Notice the denominator is x minus 4. And then the x minus 4's cancel, and you're left with x equals 1. And the reason that 4 solution was extraneous, we already referenced it. You can't divide by 0. And so we would just get our answer pretty directly using that approach. Regardless of which approach you take, we get the correct answer is A.